A battle-hardened Indian soldier returns home, only to stumble upon a group of blood-soaked policemen. They've just massacred his tribe and they ask him if he wants revenge.
Are you, aiming to do something?
None my business.
Seeing his apparent cowardice, the man's excitement peaks. He can barely contain his urge to bark like a dog. A Jewish man kneels, pleading for mercy, facing the most notorious outlaw in the territory. He explains he has a pregnant wife at home, but the outlaw doesn't understand a word of German.
English, all right? Speaking English.
Schwanger! Schwanger!
Your wife is pregnant.
Yeah!
Go on. You go back to her.
The outlaw gestures for the man to leave. The man rises, bewildered. He can't believe there's such a considerate outlaw in this lawless land. Afraid the man might change his mind, he bolts. Just as he's silently thanking his lucky stars, something terrible happens. And those outlaws will soon pay the price. Meanwhile, a still beautiful English noblewoman steps down from her carriage. She's traveled across the country alone, seeking the man who violated her. Looking at the man hanging there, Nelia realizes she's walked into a den of thieves. She offers 100 pounds to the owner to free the man.
Oh, I'm not about to haggle with you, man.
The driver throws her bag out of the carriage, ready to leave. Then, he sees something that drives him wild. Seeing so much money, the owner agrees to release the man. Eli demands his horse back.
You walk with him.
My bag.
Payment for the ride, and I can get me 25 for this. Your call.
Then Eli is chained to the carriage and forcibly taken away. On the way, they're ambushed by 3 cowboys. Knowing they can't outrun them, the driver stops. He has his own survival skills. To fight their common enemy, he hands Eli the keys and a rifle. Soon, the 3 cowboys arrive. Seeing Eli as an Indian, they decide to hang him from a tree. Eli remains remarkably calm. He questions their ability to do so.
You two, you get in our way.
I didn't kill no English woman.
3, 2.
I'll take it.
In just 3 seconds, the arrogant trio is dead, but the driver, mortally wounded, is dying. Eli hands him his pistol, then walks away without looking back. This is the brutal reality of the Wild West. That night, Nelia receives a warm welcome from the black market owner. After all, a beautiful, wealthy noblewoman is a rare find. He wants Nelia to stay and live with him, but Nelia finds him too old. Just as the black market owner is about to lose his temper, he's killed. The killer is Eli, the man who was humiliated and hanged earlier. Nelia suggests they leave immediately. She underestimates Eli's thirst for revenge. He intends to kill everyone.
Keep playing. Where's the other one?
Someone wants to see you.
Oh, I ain't gonna kill you. Let the horse decide. See if you gave him enough to drink.
He hoists the man up with a bucket, then ties the rope to a saddle. Then Eli stepped aside, ready to watch the show. A minute passed, and the horse didn't budge. Nelia did something that shocked Eli. She led the horse backward. And so, the man drowned in a bucket. Camouflage and blowguns, truly the deadliest combo in the West. A 60-year-old woman with this trick not only enjoys a comfortable life with meat at every meal, but also secretly engages in murder and robbery. But she'll soon find out she's picked the wrong opponent this time. A day earlier, Eli and Nelia encountered highway robbers. Seeing that their target was Eli, the apex predator of the West, the bandit leader immediately tipped his hat in respect. He sincerely invited Eli to join their gang, but Eli refused, saying the pay was too low. Seeing Eli wasn't buying it, the bandit decided to get down to business.
Just go my own way?
What's in her bag?
Nothing we're dying for.
The tension reached its peak. Looking at Eli's murderous expression and recalling his legendary reputation, the bandit leader quickly backed down. He chose survival over wealth. Then, Nelia's gun accidentally went off. The sole surviving bandit ran for his life. Facing this deadly duo, he completely lost his will to fight. In just one day, Nelia transformed from an English noblewoman to a Western killer. On the road where the bandits had come from, they found a wagon. The chaos told tales of the bandits' evil deeds. The pregnant woman inside was lifeless, but her baby was still alive. Eli decided to perform an impromptu C-section, and soon he emerged holding the infant. Meanwhile, Nelia found a surviving girl. The biggest problem now was food for the baby. Sufficient breast milk was crucial for its survival. And so, they embarked on a sacred quest for breast milk. Soon they found a farmhouse. Looking at the elderly woman, they hesitated. Nelia suggested turning back and taking the children to the nearest town, but Eli refused. 15 years ago, his family was killed there, and he didn't want to return to that place of pain. The next day, Nelia set off with the two children, determined to cross the lawless land alone to save them. Eli gave her his compass, promising to wait for her return. As Nelia rode away, Eli began to sing a tribal song. On the way, Nelia encountered a wandering doctor. He was traveling, researching the incurable cowpox plague. The man bid farewell and prepared to leave. Nelia lay on the ground, pretending to be dead, hoping to escape. Little did she know, the old Indian had already seen through her act.
I know you're not shot. I did not aim to shoot you. Just him, because you went where you should not.
He tightly bound the man's body with ropes. Then he forcefully swung the other end of the rope. The body slid slowly towards the wagon, and soon it was entirely inside. Having done this, the old man drove the wagon away, without giving Nelia a second glance. After calming herself, Nelia continued on her journey. On the road, she witnessed the true chaos of the West, where every inch of land concealed deadly danger. Soon, the notorious black-eyed widow set her sights on her, but Nelia's belongings didn't impress her.
180 for the wagon, 300 for the horses, 500, 550 tops.
Let's see how the West's strongest cowgirl takes down an old lady. Following Eli and Nelia's overwhelming victory against the bandits and the rescue of two orphaned children, Nelia decided to venture to the town alone to find the children's relatives. Eli stayed at the farm, awaiting her return. For the sake of two strangers, she traversed the most dangerous land in the West. Fortunately, she encountered a group of Jewish people along the way, and they happened to be the children's relatives. From them, Nelia learned a terrifying truth. The farm where Eli was staying was involved in murder and robbery. Worried about Eli, she rushed back to the farm at night. Meanwhile, Eli at the farm noticed something suspicious. A pair of hands burned to charcoal. He decided to leave, not wanting to get involved in the farm owner's affairs. But the arrogant farm owner blocked his path. It turned out he had been providing information to the bandits. The passers-by he targeted all ended up as ashes in his furnace. He invited Eli to join him in getting rich. Eli scorned their operation. When Eli drew his gun, the man cowered. He stepped aside, letting Eli leave. The careless Eli became a sitting duck. Fortunately, Nelia returned soon after. She searched every room, but couldn't find Eli. Meanwhile, the old woman was preparing Eli's funeral.
Where is he?
She falsely accused Eli of running away with Nelia's large sum of cash. But Nelia didn't believe her lies. She knew Eli wasn't someone who would be swayed by money. Seeing that she wouldn't believe her, the old woman dropped her disguise.
Family dog?
Come down, dear. Killing and thieving? You ain't got the stomach for this, do you? That's it. Hell! Shiver. cracker.
Then she found a human-shaped bundle in the horse stable. Upon opening the bundle, she breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it wasn't Eli inside. To save trouble, she decided to wait for someone to come for the money. Soon, the farm owner arrived to take the money bag on the table. She questioned him about Eli's whereabouts.
So where is he? Okay. So where is he?
Meanwhile, Eli had been taken to the bandits' hideout. There, he met the bandit leader, Waterkiller. It turned out the 3 bandits Eli killed were his men. He blamed Eli for his losses, but offered him a chance to make amends, eliminate his rival, Black-Eyed Cat.
And maybe give you back this. My enemy's enemy will finally become my friend.
At the same time, Nelia had already found Black-Eyed Cat. She had learned about the bandit leader's problem from the farm owner, so she decided to kill Black-Eyed Cat and use her head to trade for Eli's freedom.
Cheyenne, 68.
It was over 20 years ago. And you might let me get the jump on you.
You shot my mom.
Nelia knew the importance of eliminating all threats. She went outside and glared menacingly at Black-Eyed Cat's son. But in the end, her heart softened. She decided to spare the unarmed man. It turns out they were holding an Indian boy captive. She rushed with the boy to the bandits' hideout, searching for Eli. And so, the West's strongest duo reunited. Eli looked at Nelia, his heart filled with mixed emotions. It seemed like only yesterday she was a young woman he had to protect. Now, she had grown into a decisive and ruthless warrior. That night, they used the sky as their blanket and the ground as their bed. Lying on the prairie, they counted the stars. Overwhelmed by their feelings, they embraced and wept. But then Nelia pushed him away and ran into the distance, leaving Eli alone, bewildered in the wind. Haunted by the violation she had suffered, she felt herself unclean. She smeared her body with sand, hoping to purify herself, but this self-deceptive act only brought her more pain. A gunshot in the morning startled Nelia awake. Someone had taken the boy from right under their noses.
Let's go get the boy.
This man was a master of the rifle. With a fluid motion, he raised his leg and aimed. As the observer gave the command, the man fired. Nelia, to redeem Eli, had killed Black-Eyed Cat, rescuing an Indian boy imprisoned by Cat. But their relief was short-lived, as the unfortunate boy was kidnapped again. Eli and Nelia followed the boy's trail to the kidnapper's hideout. The kidnapper leader, captivated by the still beautiful Nelia, immediately wanted to make her his wife. Nelia's veins bulged with anger. If not for the boy, she would have killed him on the spot. When the Indian servant brought tea to Eli, Eli made a gesture that no one understood. The woman suddenly lost control and rushed out. It turned out Eli had told her that the captured boy was from her tribe. Just as Eli and Nelia were packing to leave, the woman rushed in with the boy. She begged them to take the boy away from this dangerous place. Before they could reply, she turned and ran back.
770.
A bullet landed beside Eli. The kidnapper leader began his hunt. Eli quickly deduced that the man was using a single-shot rifle. Taking advantage of the reload time, Eli ran backward. The man reloaded and fired again, missing. Then, Eli returned carrying the money bag. The pile of pounds still didn't tempt the man. He loved the thrill of the hunt. Now it was his turn to hunt. He was like a god of war. Seeing Eli's bravery, the woman felt a sense of relief, but she knew she had no chance of survival. Meanwhile, Nelia's vision blurred, and she collapsed. Her syphilis had taken hold. That night, Eli took her to a doctor. With the doctor's efforts, Nelia was temporarily out of danger. She knew she was beyond saving. She asked the doctor to keep her condition a secret from Eli. After all, it was an embarrassing disease. Nelia gave all her money to the doctor on the condition that he adopt the boy. She asked the doctor to take a picture of her and Eli. She wanted Eli to always remember her as young. During the photo, Nelia decided to tell Eli about her illness.
No need. Knows it already.
The two, who knew each other inside and out, continued their journey, now with no secrets between them. Several days later, they finally reached their destination. Here, they would confront the mad dog of a man, the one who had forcibly taken Nelia's virginity and infected her with syphilis. He was the most rabid villain I've ever seen in a Western. David was not only a bloodthirsty butcher, but also a scoundrel who swindled money and women. He had been an employee of Nelia's husband. One day, he had a fierce argument with his boss, and they never spoke again. Today, he suddenly visited Nelia, his former boss's wife, in England. Nelia, unaware of their falling out, warmly welcomed David. Little did she know she had walked into a trap. David claimed that her husband had been arrested for soliciting prostitutes, and that the company was in chaos. They needed money to bail him out.
How much?
£2,000 sterling.
I'll get you the money.
Moments later, the impatient David went upstairs to find Nelia. When he entered the room, he saw her holding a letter.
Not him. Did they arrest you?
Seeing his lies exposed, David simply closed the door. He forced Nelia to hand over the money.
I took on a wolf once.
Moments later, David swaggered out. He not only got £2,000, but also defiled the still beautiful Nelia. The proud and determined Nelia vowed revenge. She traveled thousands of miles from England to America. In this lawless land, she wouldn't have survived 3 days. Fortunately, on her first day, she met Eli, the apex predator of the West, a recently retired officer. With the same destination, they decided to travel together. Along the way, they fought bandits and robbers, surviving countless near-death experiences. They met in the vast sea of humanity and redeemed each other in the whirlpool of danger. Gradually, they saw each other as the most important people in their lives. After months of long travel, they finally arrived at their final destination, the lair of the mad dog David. The local ranchers had long been oppressed by David, but they dared not resist, because David had a henchman who was as powerful as a god of war.
You gotta get out of here before he gets here.
To everyone's shock, he jumped onto the roof. He pulled out his heavy weapon, aiming down, ready for a barrage of fire. In a flash, Eli burst out of the wooden house like a tiger. He turned, aimed, and fired in one smooth motion, feeding a bullet to the slow-reacting .58. The wounded .58 leaped away, retreating. They followed him in pursuit. They found the dead .58 in Broken Canyon. The so-called Death Knight had died from being jostled during his escape. Just as Eli and Nelia were about to leave, a thin man approached them. He was sent by David to guide them. Soon, they had their historic meeting. David was even more unrestrained, thrilled to see Nelia, as if seeing a wife after a brief separation.
No, I died years ago. You killed me.
The infection he had given her had cleared up for him. This caused Nelia to break down on the spot. He finally recognized Eli, the bystander, the one he had barked at like a dog. Nelia raised her gun, aiming at the confident David. Now she could finally kill the man who had ruined her life. But David knew she wouldn't shoot. He approached Nelia, trying to smooth things over. In his excitement, he even kissed the gun barrel. Fortunately, Nelia was saved by the necklace on her chest, and David was still alive. Eli knew Nelia couldn't do it, so he decided to do it himself. The sheriff, who had been meek moments before, now became assertive. He wanted to arrest Eli and a few others for murder. In the end, Eli took responsibility for everything. On the way back, the sheriff suddenly stopped the wagon. He decided to let Eli go. Then Nelia rode in from the distance.
Time to go home.
No. Home is here.
They embraced and wept, feeling each other's warmth. As Nelia left, Eli sang the tribal song again.